Janet, I'm gonna do a short story, just I promised somebody they could watch it on the.
Awesome! So we're gonna get short story and poetry and this and that. Awesome! That's awesome! Well, that's cool. Now this man, well, first of all, and I even had to say this one, and Mike came up here and I'm like, I'm looking at this shapeshifter. I'm like, I see it on the poster here, 25 years.
Towards the bottom.
Well, you were up at the top, hello.
Oh, yeah, right, like I said, towards the top.
Towards the bottom. This man has done so much stuff over the years with great book publishing stuff. And I've just heard that he traveled like 3,800 miles and has written a bunch of new poetry. And so he's going to be doing that and a short story. I'm totally psyched and totally stoked to hear this man perform. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one, the only, Dave Gecic! I would love to.
Because I promised somebody that, no, I never heard you read a short story. I'm like, well, you can see me on YouTube. Because he's all the way on the other coast. And anyways, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for featuring me. Thanks for delaying my feature. I couldn't do my feature the other day because, earlier in the month I had to cancel and move it up here because I have I'm a professional adventurer now and no source of income or anything, so I decided to take off to Colorado and do some prospecting and gold mining and spend a couple days with a poet out there. And then I met a poet's husband at a little mall in Boulder, Colorado, and he said, we're doing a reading on Saturday. It was Maureen Flannery's husband. And I did a reading in Boulder, Colorado with Maureen Flannery on Saturday night.
Oh my God.
And then Sunday I was going to leave and I got a call from a friend of mine who was taking pictures up in Montana and said, come on up here. So I drove 1,000 miles up to Montana and hanging out with poets and artists and stuff like that. And I was hanging out with people that are doing exactly what they want to do, which was kind of cool. So I'm doing a short story for him, but first I'm going to do Omaha. Oh, Omaha, I love you for your plainness. I once knew a girl from Omaha. She was exotic, exciting, and somehow simple, somehow sexy in her simplicity. She was one of your lost children. I saw that girl the other day, and she did not seem that sexy anymore. Oh, Omaha, I love you for your black and whiteness. Oh, Omaha, I love the way your lights shine at night with no pretense or apology. I love how ugly you are and do not apologize for. Oh, Omaha, I love you because I have not shared your tastes, likes, and dislikes. And oh, Omaha, I love you because I can no longer enjoy the simple things that you are. It's not that simple anymore, and I am caught in the middle. It's not that simple anymore, and I can't enjoy the simple things. Oh, Omaha, I remember what I once was and what you could have been to me. All this indecision in my life, it's such a waste of time. I can't really take it anymore. You see, it's only Omaha, and it's left or right, and it's black or white, and there's no shades of sadness or happiness in between in anything that you do. It's only Omaha. It either is or it isn't. It's either on or off. You turn the light on, you turn the light off. There's no reason to put dimmer switches in your life. It's only Omaha, and indecision does not exist here. No doubts. It's either on or off, left or right, dark or bright. Oh, Omaha, I will not measure out my life in coffee spoons. I will not debate eating a peach. I will swallow it or spit it out. I will digest it or shit it out. These are the rules. It's only Omaha. The air is so clear here. Don't dim the lights for the neighbors. Don't dim the lights for anyone. It's pretty simple. It's black or white. They don't paint things gray in Omaha. Take it or leave it. Ambiguity has no address in this town. But tonight, oh Omaha, I am only on your outskirts. There is a stop sign, and I come to a rolling stop. And oh, Omaha, I want to run your yellow lights. I'm going to allude to Omaha a little bit later, so I wanted to read the Omaha poem. I wrote that poem when I missed the poem. I was driving through Omaha. I missed the poetry reading by like a half an hour on my way there, and I missed it by an hour on my way back. So I travel around the country and miss poetry readings. Except we got to read Maureen Flannery in Boulder, Colorado. It was bizarre. This is called The Color of Eden. It must have been difficult for my parents to raise a child as unimaginative as I was. But I think my parents indulged me too much. My love of science, while it was a joy to me, they simply could not understand. While other kids accepted the wonders of the world, I sought to understand them deeply. From my earliest age, I tried to understand my world and try to change it. I devised many experiments to try to understand. I ran my experiments in the kitchen sink. They consisted of mixing together different colored waters to see what colors resulted. As I used my mother's food coloring and whatever else I happened to find around the house, they deemed it harmless enough. So I was allowed to slosh around in the sink, causing no other harm than having a few stains on my fingertips. When I read my childhood science reader, it opened up a whole new world for me. I found out that light was made of many different colors, and something that appeared red because it absorbed all the colors except red, and something appeared green because it absorbed all the colors except green. I added these to my theories of mixing colors. To the adults, my kitchen sink antics seemed harmless enough, but I did my mixing with a purpose. When people visited my parents and they asked about me, they would say I was doing my experiments and they would let me be. Science became an easy babysitter. Perhaps they thought I would become an artist or a house painter, but I had something different in mind. I experimented with different colored glasses and jars and was always on the lookout for a different colored bottle that I could add to my mixing apparatus. I discovered that yellow dye in a blue glass appeared to be green, and the mixing of the colors fascinated me. I discovered filtered light. I would take my inventions in color to the living room or my bedroom and see how the light coming in from the curtains would change the way they looked. I felt it was something only I had discovered, but I did not know that the great discovery still awaited me. My parents were gone, and my Uncle Bill had been assigned to watch me. I guess I took advantage of the situation and used the inexperienced supervision to find all kinds of new colors for my experimentation. I discovered the contents of the medicine chest in the bathroom, and my mother's lipstick dissolved in alcohol and sugar would thicken the solution, and so on. I stood at my sink for hours while Uncle Bill watched the baseball game. It was then I made my greatest discovery. There, swirling around, was a new color no one had ever seen before. The most important thing about this color was that it had power. Buildings painted this color would instantly cause people to sigh in admiration. Clothes made of this color would instantly transform the homeliest woman into the most dazzling beauty. If a flag was flown over a battlefield, instant peace would occur. Cars painted this color would never have an accident. Whose rooms were painted this color would never be sad or lonely. This color could change the world. It was the color that would set everything right. It was a color that the flowers of the Garden of Eden were painted and which had been lost to mankind. I called my uncle in the kitchen where I had my magic solution. He needed to see the one thing that could change everyone's life. He would stop drinking beer all day long and stop hitting my aunts. I knew this could save him. "Wait till the game is over. Leave me alone," he said. I dodged the empty beer can thrown at me, but I could not tempt him away from the game to show him what I had done. I decided that he must see it. I mixed up another batch, but the color was not quite right. It was not quite pure enough. I needed more in order to save him. It takes more color to change some people's world than to change others. I looked through my available colors. I was lacking some vital ingredients. I needed a certain shade of something. Perhaps I could find it in the garage or somewhere. I left my color on display in the middle of the sink. If my uncle came in, he could have it. It would make some difference in his life. I went to the garage. I searched for an hour and then went to my room. I did not have a lot of money, but was saving it up for some new microscope slides, but this was far more important. I took a bunch of quarters and dimes with me and went to the store. I was so happy that I ran halfway there. I searched the clothes dyes and the food coloring, but could not find what I needed. I became discouraged. I asked the woman at the counter. I told her I needed some color to color some papier-mâché animals I was making. She would never understand what I really needed. But she had an idea. It was March. I knew that because the other kids were getting ready for the baseball season. It was just past Easter, and they still had Easter egg coloring. That was it. I was about to give birth to a new age. No more sadness in the world. From now on, things would be colored differently. I had invented the color of pure joy. It was like something that had just hatched. I knew my parents would be back soon. This had taken me too long. I paid the woman at the counter with my few precious coins and left. I ran most of the way home. When I got to our block, I noticed my parents' car in front of the house. How would they react when they walked in and saw the very essence, the very color of pure happiness and joy sitting on the edge of their own sink? It would change their life first. They would be the first to return to paradise. When I walked in, they were in the living room talking to my Uncle Bill. They were yelling at one another. I didn't understand why. Surely they had not been in the kitchen yet. They had not seen it. If I showed it to them, this fight would end. I secretly smiled with joy. I walked past them, unnoticed, into the kitchen. That's when my heart sank. It was over. The color was gone. All that remained was an empty vessel with a few drops of water draining into the sink. Who would do such a thing? What kind of mind would do such a thing? I walked back in the living room, tears in my eyes. As I opened my mouth to speak, they began to yell at one another again. I needed the color more than ever now. I had to get it back. I returned to the kitchen. The only way I could save the happiness of my family was to get the color back. I realized the situation was far too gone now, and I could not save it by myself. I needed the color. I could not do it alone. If I could make enough to save the world, if I could not make enough to save the world, perhaps I could make enough just to save my family. Please, God, I begged. Just a little bit of the color of paradise. The shouting in the other room reached a climax, and I heard the door slam as my uncle left. Tears filled my eyes as I worked feverishly at the sink. It was too late to save him, but if I could only remember how I made it the first time, I could do it again. Bring happiness to my mother and father. I continued to work. It was quiet in the living room. Finally, I heard my father's voice. He had come down. He'll never babysit for us again, he said. Stupid fool. And look at his socks. They don't even match. Are you sure your brother's not colorblind? Okay, this is very raw. I usually try stuff out at an open mic to see and work on it there before I do it in the future. But this is raw stuff, probably the rawest stuff you've heard me read. I climbed to the top of the mountain with the poet and the artist, and when I got to the top, I saw what they had brought. The artist, a car full of camping necessities. The poet, a book or two. Most of the books he carried were within him. I looked up the burdens that I carried and realized that I could leave my baggage on the mountain. And as I dropped it, I turned and saw strewn on the mountain baggage from hundreds of travelers who had struggled to the top with so much, and in the clear air, seeing beyond the great divide, beyond the trailhead, all the way to Omaha, where it was so much simpler. You see, it's so clear up here. Beyond the tree line, it's less and less cluttered as you go higher. There's less to get in the way, so I could finally see these things. I could see the baggage from the hundreds of people before me, and I knew that there was only hundreds of piles of baggage, and there was billions of people in the world, so very few had been here. And I walked down from the mountains, and I was somehow lighter. Found a bunch of gold, but can't get it out of the sand that it's in. Pots of gold are easy to find. There are rainbows all around. But to get the gold out of the pot is a special talent. Anyway. And I've been thinking about proofread a lot, but let me see. There's something I really want to work on. I was driving through the night, and I wanted to get back to Chicago, and I was thinking about staying in the Badlands, but I decided I needed to get through the Badlands that night. And I'll do something with that one of these days. We are like lore masters, you and I, exchanging ideas and telling the stories that are mostly left untold. Telling the stories that no one would care about. Telling the stories of the men that we have known, the great men with untold stories except when we remember them. We remember how they built the atomic bomb. We remember how they dug the gold and bauxite and hematite and dug the trenches that carried the water. We say, look, there is the underground pipe that brings the water from upstream and gravity feeds it to the lower elevation. We disassemble things and say, this is a microswitch. This is a thermocouple. And the problem today is that the thermocouple has lost its electrical strength this time. Let me find the next part of the poem. We remember that they found molybdenum there, and that in Galena there is lead, and the crystals can be pried from the walls sometime in the deep holes and held in your hand, heavier than you would believe. We are lore masters. We tell the stories. We tell the stories of John Dixon on the L train. We tell the stories of my father twisting to get away from the machine that was sputtering metal shards over his body. We tell the story of dozens of men who tried to escape from the machine. And we ourselves tell the lore of trying to escape from the machine and trying to find some other ways that things are made besides machines. For not everything is a machine. Not everything is a tool of man. Sometimes we are tools of something more beyond ourselves and the realm of man. Like I said, it's kind of raw. Okay, now this one is scattered all over this book. This one is scattered all over this book. But he started to feel a little warm. Some kind of fever. And that's when we saw her, the goddess of the Western gold. I had explored her slopes and touched her skin. My partner is up in the mine. I am outside the debris field searching for specks of gold in the light. I bring samples home hoping to find some alchemical blend to separate it out, drop by drop, particle by particle, but I don't know if I will ever find a way. Made about half that up. I'm not sure what this is called. I feel it even now, a slight caress at my ankles, tiny fingers tugging me. You know, you can let things wash over you sometimes. Let things wash over you all the time. But there is some undertow that always calls you forward. The undertow is usually stronger, and it draws me in her direction. I could drown in your ocean, linger in the chambers of the sea. If I could, I would name this place Omaha Beach, but that is already taken. Shall not wear my trousers rolled. I shall walk along your beach, and I shall eat a peach. I have heard the mermaids singing, and I think they will sing for me. And with a simple word from you, I can drown. Anyways, that's some of my new stuff, and I'm working on a whole bunch of other note kind of stuff here. And I think I'm going to read some older poems. Don't know what I'm going to do with this. Sounds like a Charlie Newman thing. Pretty pleaser, living with the geezer, under my Caesar. Don't know what I'm going to do with that.
You need more repetition.
I need what?
More repetition.
Okay.
No thing like repetition.
Yeah.
Okay, this is probably a weak poem, but maybe I can make it stronger someday. I'm a little scared of this thing I am becoming, this thing I never was. I'm a little bit afraid of this cocoon, a little bit nervous that there is no cocoon, and I'm a little bit nervous that I am naked now. It's not that everyone can see what there is to see, it's that I can look in the mirror and see what there is to see, and I don't understand what it is. What are these new body parts? Where did this come from? Where did that come from? What is that growing there? Is that bulge some new organ? Or that bulge some infected part that must be cut away? I'm a little bit afraid of this new thing. Will I sprout new arms or a second head? Or will the old one fall off and I'll be without any? That was 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning, somewhere past Omaha. You know, you get a little weird.
When everything's black and white in Omaha, you need to.
Yes,
You need to.
but I wasn't to Omaha yet.
Oh, you're still in Iowa.
It's still not to Omaha. Someday I will be in Omaha. Someday I will live in Omaha.
Oh.
Someday I will be lost in Omaha. Can you get lost in Omaha?
Sure you can.
Oh.
You can get lost in a bathroom.
Depending on what you're using.
If I could only get the sit company.
Okay, anyways, there's this book called Distilled Lives. It's the Illinois State Poetry Society 20th Anniversary Anthology. And I'm in it, and Tom's in it, and Janine's in it, and... No? No?
I don't know.
No? Okay. It only costs like $5 to join the Illinois State Poetry Society. I mean, and they have some good readings. This is called Womanhood. Calm eyes and a secret elfin smile. Something about her says soft. It may have been fitted yesterday, but her dress hugs her hips as if containing her from bursting into full womanhood. She turns heads, perhaps moving in circles of adults that made her learn the ways and movements of maturity that make men wonder. Does she smile at me or just glance this way as she glides between the tables, her movements seeming whispered promises? She carefully and artfully chalks multicolored words on the blackboard. The curves of the letters match her own. Monday special smoked catfish, $5.95. As she stands back to admire and scrutinize her work, her lips purse with a critical air, and her hips are tilted in a purposeful way, and she is bursting into womanhood. And this is This is an older poem, but I don't think I ever read it at the cafe. So Janet never heard it. It's called Fossils. We must look at what separates us from the fossils. Am I a lump of coal waiting to happen? Should I lie down in a stream bed and be mineralized along with the rest? William, Carol, Emily, Sylvia, I remember you. If you are truly lumps of coal, we hold you so tight that you become diamonds in our hands.
Oh.
This was published in After Hours. One of us always had a notebook or a binder that we could use for our lines, though any flat surface would do. I always felt that the lines I did alone were better than the lines we did together. Because I was a poet and the responsible one, we used my license to smooth out the lines. You always had some kind of tickets. Little by little, your chemistry changed. Inside, the chemicals confined in a steady stream of consumption culminated in an evening of flashing lights. You prayed that your spleen, swollen to a point near bursting, could remove the toxins from your body and remove the pain. Weeks of not eating anything but milkshakes and bread because these were the only things to stay down had finally taken their toll. I knew you would live, but I did not know how this would change you. When you said you'd have no more, I took it as just another line, a line before the next one, for flat surfaces are everywhere. But maybe we understood ourselves a little bit more. The lines we did together are gone. The time just went on past to where they came from did not last. The lines we did apart, however, are still here, and in those lines, all of the surfaces are round. Let's go round, by the way. Okay, two more?
Sure.
You have to. That's the Jared rule.
Three more?
I would have said one or two more.
Okay. Okay, I'll do one more. I'll do Siamese twin. Which yes, I did here before, but I like it. Love is such a strange thing in this world of ours. To have that connection, to even desire that connection with another, is something unnatural. I want to be a Siamese twin, connected at the hip with someone, or sharing some vital organ, perhaps a heart with another. Now that would be a different experience. I want to be a Siamese twin, give myself a reason to be dependable, give someone a reason to be civil, to be close to me, and to wake in the morning at my side. I want to be a Siamese twin. I don't care who stares anymore. A monster, malformed, deformed, and unnaturally happy. Thanks a lot, everybody.
I'm sorry, that wasn't quite loud enough. Please give it up one more time.
When did you do the after hour poem? What?
They're still talking about it.
6, 7.
Now,
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I've been running this open mic for a few years, and I also do this literary magazine that I do monthly, and it just works out, I think, right now. I've got something accepted from Bob Raskow, a Twin Peaks poem, that's going to be in the March issue of CC&D, and I've just accepted a piece from Charlie Newman, an untitled piece that he thought sounded more like prose. That's going to appear probably in the March issue of CC&D. And Jeanine Ramsland, I think she gets to know what kind of stuff I would like. And she said, what do you think of this one? And I'm like, yeah, I'd like this one. You should send it to me, and maybe it'll appear in the March issue. And now that I'm starting to think about it, that second poem that you just did in your feature about color, if you were willing to send it to
The
me,
story?
then yeah, why the hell not? I thought that was pretty cool. That could appear in there. And then I'm thinking, wait, Wayne Allen Jones, like last week, had a mini feature-like thing. The first thing that he does is this great thing about understanding, now I can't even remember it, but dimensions and stuff. And one of the songs, I'm like, I think I would like to have, and I could make this like a The Cafe issue of CC&D, because I've got so many pieces from people. If you would send them to me, that would be so double plus awesome. Yeah, I'm nodding yes from one person already, so I'm going to stop talking about my magazine and start talking about the cafe. Now, the thing that's awesome, I'd like to think, about having a feature here at the cafe is a lot of people say, well, people couldn't make it to the cafe for the feature, but since it was a podcast, people were able to check it out online. So if you want to know anything about this at all, you can always go to chaoticarts.org/thecafe. I'm also going to put these things on as YouTube clips, and anybody can find anything out anywhere. And God, thank you all so very much for waiting here in this wonderful weather in this great place. And I really look forward to seeing you all, technically, hopefully next week. If you are actually not going to have a long weekend out of town, you can come here right after Labor Day weekend and have a mini feature night, which would be so great to see all of you here doing little shows for me. I would love it, I swear to God I would. So once again, thank you all so very much.